This person has been dead for 24 hours, but I can bring him back to life within 5 minutes. First, I installed the consciousness extractor on his head, then lifted his eyelids and pierced his eyeballs with neural probes to connect to his optic nerves. At that moment, the man's memories flowed like data through the probe and were transmitted to a hard drive. Next, I opened up his nervous system and skillfully placed his memories into an android's brain. Soon, I had completed this seemingly impossible surgery. As the android's program activated, the man was revived in another form. To confirm whether the memory implantation was complete, I conducted some simple tests. However, the human brain simply couldn't be compatible with a mechanical body, and rejection soon occurred. The android suddenly became violent and tore off its own face. Seeing the situation spiraling out of control, I cut the android's power supply, which meant the experiment had failed once again. Each experiment cost hundreds of millions of dollars. As the owner of the biotechnology company, I couldn't bear the pressure anymore and was forced to shut down the project. However, what happened next completely changed the fate of my family. And on the way home, I was in a car accident. When I regained consciousness, I was the only survivor among our family of 4. Looking at the 4 bodies on the ground, after a brief moment of grief, I made a bold decision. I called my colleague to rush over with the equipment. Seeing the chaotic scene, years of working together allowed him to instantly understand my intentions. But simply extracting memories could only place them in androids. We had never conducted experiments on living subjects. As a technical expert in animal cloning, when he learned I wanted to clone my family members, he immediately tried to stop this absurd idea. Setting aside the enormous risks, even if cloning succeeded, the brains would only remain at an infant stage unless we could implant memories into the clones. But my memory implantation experiments had never succeeded, so he urged me not to make another mistake. Indeed, what could be more terrifying in this world than losing one's family?
What if something horrible goes wrong?
Something already has. Perhaps it was precisely this obsession of mine that finally convinced my colleague to help. However, we now faced a difficult choice. There were only 3 cultivation chambers in the warehouse, which meant I had to abandon 1 family member. With no time left, I used a drawing lots method and drew my youngest daughter. After a brief moment of sadness, we immediately began the cloning experiment. The entire process would take 17 days to complete. To monitor the cloning progress at all times, I moved directly to the laboratory. Fearing that my family would remember my youngest daughter after revival, I painfully deleted all memories related to it and threw away her photos from home. Since my family had disappeared for over 10 days, my daughter's teacher came to inquire about the situation, which I managed to deflect excuses. Only then did I remember to check my wife's phone and discovered hundreds of missed calls and text messages. I impersonated my wife's tone and replies and managed to deceive everyone. No, there was only 1 day left before the clones would be fully formed, but the memory implantation simulation tests continued to fail. What was worse, if I didn't release the clones from the cultivation chambers today, they would grow according to the preset catalytic growth rate and would soon age and die. After careful consideration, I could only decide to release my family first, and then figure out the memory implantation problem later. But in the second before opening the chamber doors, we had no idea what had actually grown.